First of all, if you haven't received the email, I just sent out an email. I got a text from Dr. Jeff Mitchell, who's a client of mine. He's in Montana. And every month in this year, January, February, March, and April, and May, he's collected up to $100,000. Last month, May, which just finished a few days ago, he collected $112,000 in the month of May, not a year, the month of May. He collected it. He didn't produce it. He collected it. Okay. Now, there's a couple caveats to that, but let me just tell you the quick story. Is he joined me as a client when he was only seeing 30 patient visits a week. 30 patient visits a week. And his life was in turmoil. He was looking at a divorce. He was renting, I think at that time, I think he was renting an apartment. You know, life doesn't go well. And I think he has 4 kids. Life doesn't go well when you're seeing 30 visits a week. His wife does work. So she did. And if she didn't work, then he really wouldn't have made it in that time period. So because his wife worked, that's what was able to kind of keep him going. Well, he was referred to me by his good friend. And his good friend started with me seeing 120 visits a week. Well, that good friend now has 5 offices. So he's got 7 associate doctors. He doesn't work. He just manages. He just builds and manages and markets. That's all he does. He's got 5. That's who referred him. So he started with me with 1 office, 120 visits a week, board. He took his business up to 5 practices. And he referred this other guy because his good friend, because he knew he wasn't doing well. And so he started with me at 30 patient visits a week. And I'll just tell you what he did is, number one, he listened. The first thing he did was patient retention. We totally cleaned up his patient. He was, and again, like most chiropractors, he was losing them left and right. So immediately he implemented our patient retention, and that shot his practice up real quick, which it always does. But he didn't bastardize it. He didn't hem-haw around. He didn't pick and choose. And this is the key to getting systems, you know, proven systems to work. You got to do the whole system. You can't pick and choose. I always say everybody that does my system increases their business over $100,000 in 90 days. The only people who do not are the ones who do not apply it, or they bastardize it. They pick and choose. That's the only people who do not increase their business over $100,000 in 90 days with my patient education. So that was the first jump. So he had some breathing room now. What's the next thing he did? We taught him new patient educational sales. So first we taught him how to keep them. Then we taught him how to get them. And he did it. He went out and he actually did the presentations and got patients left and right. And he knew how to keep them. Boom, practice shoots up again. And then he learned personal injury. And then he went out and did a few personal injury presentations. His first presentation, I think he had 5 attorneys, and 3 of them immediately started sending them all their cases. That's how he took his practice from 30 patient visits a week using those 3 systems: patient education, new patient educational sales, personal injury attorney educational sales. That's what works so well. But he was good at it, number one, and he didn't pick and choose. And to be honest with you, one of the reasons he didn't pick and choose is because he didn't have an option to pick and choose. When you're seeing 30 visits a week, you can't fool around. You can't be choosy and pick. That's sometimes the problem I have with doctors seeing 80, 100 visits a week. They pick and choose stuff, and of course they wreck it. It doesn't work near as well when you start changing stuff. So that's what happened. Now, I will share this. He does, in Montana, they do have a $20,000 PIP. So he does have twice the dollar per visit. So his dollar per visit is $250. So it is double the national average. But still, if you take $112,000 and you divide it by 2, you're still at $55,000 a month. $700,000-$800,000 a year. So that's what that would be for a normal practice, would be a $700,000-$800,000 a year practice. So he only sees 150 patient visits a week. Now he took it up to over 200. And then we actually hired an associate doctor. So the associate doctor sees the majority of the patients, and it's a damn good thing he did, because he got into an accident and he can't practice anymore. So he's got $1 million practice that he's managed and grown, and he's not going to lose because he's already had the associate doctor in place and he knows how to hire and train. So he's just essentially being the manager now. And now he's actually going to open a second office. So he's learned the systems, and he's learned how to manage it, how to market and manage it, and then feed it into the system, and then the associate doctors process the business. That's what happened. So that's exactly what can happen when you don't bastardize systems that have proven to work. You just do them. And of course, that's what happened with me. I went being from a failure, just not even being able to practice and see many patients at all, that when I hired my mentors and systems, I didn't pick and choose. Whatever whatever was said to done that showed to have worked, I did. I didn't bastardize it. And of course, that's what led to, 77 offices in 20 states, $80 million a year. It's from taking systems that are proven and known to work and applying them. Don't change them. And there's not that much. I say this all the time. There's not a lot of systems you have to know to do really well in this profession. But you better damn well know patient education. You don't know how to keep patients. You're always going to have problems with your profit, your overhead, new patients, everything. And then from there, you better learn new patient educational sales, because the majority of the new patients are not the 8% that are looking. So if you never learn educational sales, you're limited to 8%. And then with the competition of all the other chiropractors in your area, as soon as you learn educational sales, that accesses you to the 92% that's not looking for chiropractors, and 75% of those people have a chiropractic problem. That's where the huge, huge market is with new patients, not chasing the 8% with every other Tom, Dick, and Harry. And then to put the dollar per visit, to increase the dollar per visit, add some personal injury to that. And that's what he did. And there you go. There's your $100 per visit, $150 per visit. Go ahead and do the math. Go ahead and do, 80 visits a week at $100 per visit. That's $8,000 a week, 52 weeks, 5 times 8 is 45. You're at $500,000 in collections just from 80 patient visits a week at $100 per visit. And it doesn't take anything to see 80 patient visits a week. Now, you could probably see 80 patient visits a week with 2 attorneys referring you 1, 2, or 3 cases a month. That's it. Nothing. Unbelievably easy. And of course, once you know it, now it's just reproduce it. Now you got to learn how to manage the business. And that's what I had to do. I had to learn how to put staff in place. Had to hire, train, and manage associate doctors, because I know how to create way more business and keep it than I physically can handle. Boom. That's how it works. Those are the big, big ticket items. Everything else, there's a lot of things you got to worry about when you're self-employed, but those are the big ticket items: patient education, new patient educational sales, personal injury attorney educational stuff. And I always say the last piece of that puzzle is the 2 pieces I already said about the associate doctors to help you process the business. But the other one is you do have to know how to hire, train, and manage staff. And a lot of people don't know how to do that. It's not taught. And it definitely takes knowledge and skill to know who to hire, how to interview, how to train, and to put them in the right roles to optimize that particular part of the business. So that's I'd say that's probably the biggest problem chiropractors have, that they don't know they have, or it's way bigger than what it is. They just don't realize it's bigger than what it is. And it's a classic example. If you can't keep staff, you don't know how to get staff, you don't know how to keep them, you don't have the knowledge or skill. That's bottom line. That's how it works. I mean, it is knowledge and skill on how to hire, train, and manage staff, just like patient education, new patient educational sales, personal injury attorney educational sales. But I always see it being belittled and think there's nothing to it. I'm like, no, that's the hardest thing to do self-employed, is manage people. Okay. So anyway, that's the ticket. That's how he did it. Just followed the systems, moved right along. That was 3 years ago. He started with me at 30 patient visits 3 years ago. He's got what he's doing, 1.2, $1.3 million a year right now, looking to open his next office. And thankfully, he had all these systems in place and the associate doctor in place prior to that accident. He was in an ATV accident, injured his wrist, and he can barely treat anybody without all kinds of pain in his wrist. And he's going to need surgery. And so bottom line is he's not going to be a fully productive chiropractor on his own. The good news is he learned how to create the business, keep it, and leverage it. And that's where the real money's at. It's not going in there exchanging your time for money. That is not where the real money's at. All right, just wanted to share with you that story sometime. And the reason I share these stories to you is hopefully you take them as inspiring. When I was going through practice, I wanted to hear stories like that. I wanted to hear, how do you do it? How do you do it? I want to do it. I want to do it. I wasn't the jealous one. I wasn't the one that said, oh, he's doing it. And then I said, oh, he's cheating, lying, stealing. That wasn't me. I found out the successful person. I want to know, how did he do it? That's how you become successful. So I just wanted to share that with you.